Hey guys, welcome back to the Fight Book. I'm the Indian Excel guy, and today we are again going to discuss all the new fight announcements. And Dana White also have announced his boxing league, and he has also announced, basically gives an update on John Jones versus Aspinall. So let's start from Jones versus Aspinall fights because I know you all have been waiting for this fight. So Dana White basically tells that John Jones versus Tom Aspinall fight is in still works and it will probably happen in this summer. So the biggest UFC pay-per-view in summer is going to be International Fight Week UFC 317 in the end of June or in the start of July. So you can expect John Jones to headline International Fight Week against Tom Aspinall for the undisputed heavyweight championship. Moreover, Dana White said if Alex Pereira beats Magomed and Ankalaev this weekend, first he deserves the number one pound for pound spot, and he will also be the next for Jones versus Aspinall winner. So this means if Alex Pereira beats Ankalaev this weekend, he will get the chance to become the first triple champion in the UFC history. So the second fight announcement is for April 26th UFC Kansas City card, and it is announced that Randy Brown will face Nicholas Delby. And if you are a die-hard MMA fan, you know that this fight is going to be a good one. Then Azamat Bekoev has already announced that he is going to fight in UFC Des Moines, and now his opponent is announced. He is going to face Ryan Lauder on May 3rd at UFC Des Moines in Iowa. Then we have some call outs in the UFC. First one is Dan Hooker, who is coming off his hand injury after a successful surgery. He called out Arman Sarukian for the number one contender fight, and he also accuses him for creeping on Nina Drama. Then Oban Elliott in Ariel Harvani show calls out Jorge Masvidal or Vicente Luque, and Haider Amil calls out Brian Ortega. Brian Ortega was called out a few days ago by Movsar Evloev as well. So let's see when Brian Ortega returns and who he chooses to fight. We now move on to the non-UFC fight announcements. First one is Joel Romero, who will headline Dirty Boxing's first event DBX1, and this time it will be shown live. Uh, and where Joel Romero will face Ross Hilton in the main event. The guy who beat Anshul Jubilee, Mike Breeden, will also be featured on the card, but his opponent is yet to be announced. Then the second fight is Alexei Olenek, former UFC heavyweight, a veteran. Will face what this name is, Geronimo dos Santos. I don't know who this guy is, but this fight will happen in BKFC 71 Dubai card, and it is going to be a good one. Let's see how the old man does in bare knuckle boxing. The last is the first quarterfinal match for PFLs this season is announced, and it will be Simone Powell versus Carl Albexson. Now we move on to boxing without wasting your time. And what we have first, as I told you in the last video, that Dillian White has pulled out of his fight against Joe Joyce, and now Filip Hrgovic is expected to step in for the injured White against Joe Joyce on April 5th. This fight is not official yet, but Hrgovic is expected. Next is Michael Hunter's return. Michael Hunter is the boxer who has a win on Martin Bucole. He will return on April 9, headlining Showtime boxing card, but his opponent is also to be announced. Then Martin Bukoy himself is also back. He was supposed to fight Effie Ajagba on May 2nd, but as you all know, that Fatal Fury City of Wolves card is now stacked with Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and Teofimo Lopez. So Martin Bukoy versus Effie Ajagba is now moved to next day's Riyadh season card, which will be headlined by Canelo Alvarez versus William Skull for the super middleweight undisputed championship. Next is Johnny Fisher versus Devin Allen 2. If you know that Fisher was controversially crowned the winner of the first meeting back in December on the Fury Usyk 2 undercard, and everyone was shitting on Johnny Fisher that he just got fraud checked. So now their second fight has been announced, and it will be a headlining bout at the Copper Box Arena. Then next is Jake Paul's most valuable promotions card is announced for Netflix, and it will be all women card headlined by Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano 3 at Madison Square Garden, New York. Their first two meetings were banger, and third one is definitely going to be the same. Then Dana White's boxing league. Dana White has announced the boxing league along with Turkey Al Sheikh and WWE President Nick Khan. Alex Pereira, when heard this news, he said he is hopeful that he would fight Alexander Usyk in a boxing match in Dana White's new promotion. But Dana White said that he will not do crossover fights because he doesn't like the crossover between MMA fighters and boxers. Dana said that this new boxing league will follow the UFC like ranking system where the prospects will have to climb up the rankings and get the title shot. There will be less undefeated fighters in this league because the best will fight the best and people will lose their oars. Turkey Al Sheikh announced that their first event would probably happen on September 12th, Friday, and rumor says that the first events will be headlined by Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford super fight in Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Then the official announcements ends here, but we have three fights officially ordered, but these are yet to be made. The WBC have officially ordered Dimitry Bivol to defend his undisputed light heavyweight world titles against David Benavidez. If you don't know, Benavidez were mandatory of Canelo Alvarez for almost 2 years, but they did not order Canelo to defend his belts against Benavidez. But now, when we all want Dimitry Bivol versus Arthur Beterbiev 3, they just come up and ordered Dimitry Bivol to fight David Benavidez next. Then Kuprat Pullaev is ordered by WBA to defend his regular heavyweight title against the prospect Fabio Wardley next. Then the third order is by WBC for their interim 112-pound champion Galal Jafai versus their number one ranked contender Francisco Rodriguez Jr. This fight is ordered to get the next mandatory challenger for their champion Kenshiro Teraji, who will be fighting next weekend in a unification bout. Then from Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Rose Jr. 2 is the news is that Lamont Rose Jr.'s lawyer have requested that their fight should be overturned and Lamont Rose Jr. should be announced as the winner. But before New York Commission announce any results, the WBA have officially come out in support of Gervonta Davis, and they stated that the no knockdown ruling in round 9 was correct. And that's all. If you want to stay updated with every fight announcement, subscribe and stay with me. Now do whatever you want.